Hi guys. So today I am joined by my husband, and in honor of it being Halloween, we're going to be chatting about some of our favorite villains.
If you are extremely sensitive to spoilers and you don't want to know villains' names, then don't watch, but it's going to be fine. We'll make it through it.
So the first villain that we're going to be chatting about, we're switching between some of my favorite villains, some of his favorite villains, but first up, we have Satya from the Stormlight Archive series. He is one of those characters that he's always kind of maneuvering in the political sphere, and he just F's things up for other people, but then they can't do anything about it because he kind of holds too much power and too much sway. And the level at which he screws things up is so crazy. You think there's no way that they can't take this guy down now. Everybody saw what happened, but then he's just like, I didn't mean to, and then everybody's like, well, we can't prove his motivations.
My first pick is She-Ra from Blade of the Immortal. Blade of the Immortal has a large cast of morally gray characters, and then She-Ra is just a vile human being. The worst. He's the worst. And I actually sent you a message while I was reading this, and I said, I hate this guy. So yeah, he's not great.
Next up, I'm going to switch to a character that isn't exactly pure villain. They're kind of morally gray charcoal, you know, like they definitely lean on the villain side for a long time, but then a little bit sink into the other side. And that would be Scar from Full Metal Alchemist. First off, Full Metal Alchemist is filled with amazing characters. Good guys, bad guys, people in the middle, people on the way extremes that are just terrible or amazing. It's just got the best cast of characters. Scar is one of those characters that, while what he's doing isn't the nicest, you kind of can sympathize for the guy, you empathize with him because he's been through a lot. The more you get to know him, the more you're like, you poor broken soul.
If you're one of those people who thinks, I don't read the Japanese comic books, go read Full Metal Alchemist.
It's so good.
It will open up a whole new world of
fantastic
stories. We are now switching from Scar to Char. Char is one of the villains in Mobile Suit Gundam: The Origin. And he's another one, he's complex. His motivations are, as you learn about him, you start to understand why he does what he does. He's got a very sad past that we learn about starting, I believe, in this volume 5. It's called Char and Sayla. So if you read the first 4 and you're like, this guy doesn't seem very good, what's Sean talking about? He doesn't know what he's talking about. Read volume 5.
Next up, we have a character from the Shades of Magic series that I know we've kind of been mentioning, like, if you're sensitive to spoilers, don't listen. But this one, legitimately, if you haven't finished that series or gotten past the first book, you might not want to listen. That said, I loved Holland from the Shades of Magic series. It's one of those things where I may have liked Holland more than any of the main characters. I just found him to be the most complex, the most intriguing, the most interesting. Honestly, Holland just needs a hug. Everybody needs to hug Holland.
My next character is Doctor Doom from Marvel. I am not a Doctor Doom expert. I don't know all the foul things that he's done in his 50 plus years of existence in comics, but in Jonathan Hickman's Fantastic Four and Avengers, he is awesome. It's a great characterization of Doctor Doom. There he is, battling Reed Richards at the end with time and space. And just read Jonathan Hickman.
The next villain comes from the second Mistborn book, The Well of Ascension, and they technically are in the first one, but they play a much bigger role in the second one, and that would be Straff Venture. Once again, maybe don't listen if you're really nervous about getting spoilers, but Straff Venture is Ellen Venture's father. In the first one, he's just kind of a tool that's around, and in the second one, he is just a pain in everybody's butts. Unlike some of the other villains that we've mentioned, he is not one of those characters that you're like, oh, I just actually kind of feel bad for the guy. No, he's despicable. He's disgusting. Have you ever been in a movie theater that when the bad guy dies, people cheer? That's the kind of feelings that you'll have for Straff Venture. You're like, you just want the guy to die.
My next pick is Sinestro, the arch nemesis of Green Lantern. He used to be a Green Lantern. He used to be Hal Jordan's partner, but they have a difference in opinion. He so strongly desires order in the universe that he will kind of become fascist in his way to get it. He's not about peace, he's about order. He doesn't want chaos, and that's why he starts his yellow lantern corner. I like Sinestro because there will be these grand speeches he gives to Hal Jordan, and he's very convincing, and you're like, oh, maybe he's got some points after all. But ultimately, he's not good. He murders people.
So my last pick is a character that I think wins for hating the most, and that would be Minya from Strange the Dreamer. She ruins everything. Well, it's hard not to ruin the book for you, but she'll ruin the book for you because she ruins everything. Minya is a character that definitely has valid reasons for all of her anger and frustration and hatred, except that at some point you're like, can we get over it now? Like, she is prolonging resolution because she so terribly wants to hold on to that hatred. And sometimes I feel bad for the characters. I'm like, oh, like, I want you to hate people too. But not Minya. I don't feel bad for Minya.
My last pick is a Batman villain, but it's not the Joker. Fooled you. It's the Court of Owls, the collective court. Why do I like them? I'll tell you why. Batman thinks he knows Gotham. He thinks the Court of Owls are make-believe, kids' tales. You just tell your children to keep them out of the streets. But it turns out they're real. They've been there for hundreds of years, and they've got a beef with Batman. And I like seeing Batman struggle. Well, those are our favorite villains.
There are, of course, a lot of other villains that we think are fantastic, but we didn't want this to be too dreadfully long. Let us know who your favorite villains are, though, whether they're some of the same ones we mentioned or they're completely different. Whoever you hate with a burning passion, let us know about it.
Have a happy Halloween. Give some candy to kids, but keep the rest of it for yourself. And be safe out there.
Bye, guys.